Okay, welcome to another video, and this one is primarily about a bargain way to take wildlife photos, and it's with the help of this beautiful bargain that I got off eBay. I actually got it off eBay many years ago, probably about 7 years ago, and I've just never bothered using it. And the same goes for this lens that I've got, which I got from Real Camera in Manchester, UK, I think. It was probably 10 or 15 pounds. It was when I was on Micro Four Thirds, when I was just starting out, and I just haven't used it very much since then. So it's 135mm lens, f3.5. You can get faster lenses, like f2.8 at 135, but yeah, these are really cheap to get. So it's got a PK to FX adapter on. That's Pentax K mount to Fuji X mount. But you can also get adapters for any kind of mirrorless camera, such as Sony E mount, Canon M mount, and Micro Four Thirds, which is where I started. So I started with the crop factor of 2, which made this 135mm lens 270mm, and it was just too long to use as a prime lens. So I used it in the garden once a year for some flowers like bees on lavender and things like that, and I just didn't bother using it any other time. Optically not perfect, plenty of chromatic aberration, and it's also got some I thought the bokeh was busy, but since I've reused it recently, I've noticed that it's actually quite decent bokeh on it. And I did look on Pentax forums, which is a great place to check out reviews of these old Pentax lenses, PK mount or M42 mount. This is actually a well-regarded lens, and it's also very small for what it is. This is only a Fujifilm X-E2 camera, so this is very small. Let me show you. Here's a bit lighter, just to kind of put it into perspective how big it is. That's just a normal little big lighter. I've got pretty small hands, so it is very small. And on top of it is this Olympus teleconverter, and it's the A-200 H.Q. That's probably just means high quality converter 1.5x. So it's turning this 135 millimeter lens into approximately 200 millimeters. The actual amount is 202.5 millimeters. So if you put that into full frame equivalency, it's basically a 300 millimeter lens, and it's f3.5. Now, I just had a quick look on eBay, and this is the cheapest thing on eBay, which is similar. Oh, actually, this is a 5.6 lens, so this is not equivalent at all. I was looking for something which is 300 millimeter lens, but f3.5. It's just brought up a load of figures. I'm doing this by price, so there's obviously nothing under $200, which is a 300 millimeter f3.5. Although I do think I did own one once. It might have been made by Hoya. That could have been a 200 millimeter f3.5 though. Basically, you don't get lenses that are this small that are f3.5 and still good quality. And this is good quality. It's a bit ungainly the way it looks, but it's great. I think this just adds a bit of chromatic aberration. It seems to have quite a lot of chromatic aberration, which is just about correctable. But yeah, otherwise, this is a pretty nice setup for like going on walks. And yesterday we went on a walk to Dunham Massey. If you know the northwest of England, you might know that. So here's a photo I took. This is using the Fujifilm classic negative film simulation to give it a nice look, a bit of style. Obviously the green is not that color in real life. And then I've got this one, which is a bit more natural color. This is using this nostalgic negative film simulation. It's still a slightly retro film simulation. And so I was about 15 meters away from this deer, and I kind of like that photo. I did brighten the deer up a little bit in post, but it's a pretty decent photo, and there's plenty of detail on the deer. At this distance, it was probably about, I don't know, 15 to 20 meters away. The actual depth of field was something like, hold on, let me just show you on my phone here. So I use Hyperfocal Pro, which you may or may not have heard of on Android phones. So I was shooting with, when things were at a distance, I was pulling it down to 3.5 so that I would get some nice foreground blur and background blur. So let's say that deer was 15.5 meters away. This shows us that the depth of field was 80 centimeters. So that's from the beginning of it being sharp to the end of it being sharp. That's just 80 centimeters. So for something that was really far away, like this deer, it's giving you less than a meter to play with your focus peaking to get the focus nailed right, which is about right. But if you pull this down to, let's say, 2.5 meters, using this setup, it's 2 centimeters the depth of field. So even if you think that this lens is a bit vanilla at 135 f3.5, with this teleconverter on the end, which makes it a 200mm f3.5, plus the fact that I'm using it on a crop sensor body, which makes it, so you times it by 1.5, makes it a 300mm f3.5 lens, which means if your subject is only 2.5 meters away, you've got 2 centimeters of depth of field to play with, which means that, I mean, that's too thin really. So you want to be lowering it down to, I don't know, f5 or f4.5. I was putting it in the middle quite a lot. That's still not even 3 centimeters depth of field. So you can pull it all the way down to f8 if it's quite a bright day. And now we've got a little bit to play with. We've got 4 centimeters for fairly close-up shots. I was getting a lot of close-up shots out of focus, which kind of looks okay when you're using these film simulations, but for stuff that's further away, wildlife, you get like 0.5 meter or to a meter, something like that, at f3.5. So that's ideal, in my opinion. You don't need a faster lens than that. You don't need a stupidly big lens like the Fujifilm. I think it's 200mm f2. I mean, the depth of field on that must be insane. But on this is a 300mm f3.5. You're probably getting a similar kind of thin depth of field as you do with that thing. And this adapter probably cost £5 to £10. The lens was like £10 to £15, and this adapter on the end, and we'll put the proper name, all the text on it below, so you can search for it on eBay. This thing was like £5, maybe $10, including postage on eBay. I've just had a quick look on eBay, and there are some of these on there, so I recommend you have a look. And there are some that were like $50 or £50, £40. But you will find some for £5 or £10, and if they're not there at the moment, you can set up a little notification which will let you know when a bargain comes available. Besides this Olympus, there are also ones which are for slightly different filter mounts. This is a 49mm filter mount, which it says there. So it is a fairly small lens. This 49 is not a big filter mount. There was one for 52mm filter mount, I think, which I might actually buy before uploading this video, because they are total bargains if you're going to use them. If you just want something to play around with occasionally in the garden, or for occasionally like going on walks and you see some nature or something, yeah, they're definitely worth looking into. This is plastic, really cheap, but honestly, I've not done any pixel peeping, but the actual quality seems to be excellent of the image. So I highly recommend you look into these, and if you can find a bargain for $5 or $10 for an extender, stick it on a lens. These cost like $10 to $20. There's loads of 135mm lenses. And then obviously you need your mount. You just get a basic $5 or $10, like $10 mount adapter. It's a really cheap setup, and you can get some really nice photos like those deer ones. I mean, I'm no professional when it comes to photography, and especially not wildlife photography, but I think that's pretty nice. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. That's why I'm kind of sharing this. I think many people won't know about these teleconverters. There are other brands of teleconverters as well that you can get out there. It's worth looking into. It might just give you a little bit of something exciting, something special to play with, and you know, give you a reason to go out there and shoot something different for a change. So yeah, hope that was of use, and see you next time. Have a good day.